5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch me. Level up, 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 level up.
As a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free.
Peace. No peace. Shut up. So we're here at the MLK, whatever. So we are here at the MLK March Parade in memory of Martin Luther King Jr. and ODU. No peace! It's wrong way, Alexis, other way.
We deep.
Even though she has been writing since her senior year of high school, this is only her second time performing spoken word. Not only does Quay write poetry, but she also models. Today, she is going to perform an original piece that she titles Wake Up. Ladies and gentlemen, Rockways Your Battle.
You like teenage girls. When you say teenage, how old are we talking?
It started with a series of tweets that's now the center of an investigation involving discrimination and racism among members of the Alpha Phi sorority.
It's crazy that it's still going on. That's at a diverse campus.
And a new year, a new Congress fast approaching, President Trump issues another shutdown threat. This time, the warning is that he may seal off the entire southern border with Mexico and insisting the federal government will not reopen until he gets his billions in wall funding. Day set.
People say, what you don't know won't hurt you. That sounds nice. But if you like me, overthinking, it tends to get the best of you. You know the what ifs, the made up truths that we come up with because we don't know what the truth really is. But I believe all that can stop if we all just open up our mouths. Because we all claim to be grown here, but the minute something goes left, we run. Because that one skill we all seem to need, called communication, has become something that's rarely done. The last generation, well, let's see. Maybe we don't talk about it, we can pretend it never happened. And whether we will believe it or not, all these accusations is the exact result of us carrying on this tradition where we don't talk about the problems. That's why my generation, we all seem so unbothered by the chaos and the gentrification. Because all that new house on the street you grew up on, it looks nice, so nice, that you forget Trey, that's what his family used to say. It's hard to face it. You see, the truth that we really never knew because we all been so blinded. Blinded by the thoughts and the distractions, by the Twitter trends and what size can I get this shoe in. We've been worried about the wrong things. There ain't no way y'all don't see this little game. What happened to ISIS? Oh, you remember that blue and black, no, I mean white and gold dress? The distractions. The distractions that make us forget. Forget to say his name, her name, and his name again. They're killing our people, and we're worried about the wrong mess. Let's talk about 2014 and the 64,000 black queens that haven't been seen since. For everybody been so quiet. They snatching our people off these streets. Everybody want to be so woke, but still so silent. But let me really wake you up. You see, all these distractions got y'all missing the real problem, so I'm going to tell you how I really feel. We damn should know a lot. So let's turn that hurt into gain, because this world we live in, this poor world that we live in is filled with pain. That idiot in that house is causing hell, so let's close his mouth. People can't feed their families, so we must get him out. Educate ourselves, open our minds in these books, because that's the only way we getting off these hooks. We walking on needles, y'all. The color of our skin causes them to want us to fall. But we rise above all ignorance, because what we don't know won't hurt us, but what we do know will save us. Good night.
I'm really short, so you guys can't see me behind there, so I'm going to stand right here. All right, let's just give another applause to Quay. She was absolutely fabulous. All right, so I'm going to be introducing our next guest here, so we can give her a warm welcome as well. And her name is going to be Courtney. All right, so Courtney Nicole, also known as God's Lyricist, is currently a sophomore from Richmond, Virginia. She has been rapping since the age of 13 and has written poetry for as long as she can remember. When asked what principles she holds closest, Courtney answered that she has always remembered to keep God first. Courtney will be performing two pieces, the first being a rendition of Love Yours by J. Cole, and the second entitled Colored People. You can find her art on her Instagram page, God's Lyricist. Everyone welcome Miss Courtney Nicole.
How y'all doing? She told y'all my name, but I'm Courtney Nicole, God's Lyricist. And the scripture that I have that goes with my performance today is Proverbs 18:21. And the scripture says, death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. And I'll say it again. Death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So with that being said, that goes in accord with this event because we're breaking the silence and we're speaking out. And so this next song that I'm about to do is my rendition of Love Yours by J. Cole. And it's just about how as African American people, we should love ourselves no matter what society teaches us or tells us. Love yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. No such thing, no such thing. No such thing, no such thing. You perfecting on the outside but not within. So you looking in the mirror, a comparison. Valuing what they have over what you were gifted. You all up in the mix but you still feeling distant. Consumed with everyone else, starting to miss your blessings. Take it a little further, you convince yourself that loving yourself is looking like everyone else. They say the grass is greener on the other side, but I say if my grass is shade darker, I'll survive. They say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. They appropriate our culture cause they see it's the truth. You see the privileged in the media steady feeding us lies, and we as black people systematically denied a catalyst for destruction, but still we seem to thrive. Black kings, black queens, there's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. As a life that's better than yours. It's no such thing. I said it's no such thing. So, as African American people, society doesn't teach us that there's no such thing as a life that's better than ours. And in 1967, Martin Luther King gave a speech known as the 3 Evils of Society. And the 3 evils were racism, poverty, and war. So this next song that I'm about to do is called Colored People. And it's a representation of that speech that he gave. This is for my colored people. Listen, no disrespect to the other people, but this is for my colored people. All we wanna see is equal, equal. For my colored people, this is for my colored people. No disrespect to the other people, but all we wanna see is equal, equal. So we gon' rise above, we gon' rise above. You see, we living in a systemic world filled with hurt. The people are oppressed as if they buried in the dirt, degraded by society as if they have no worth. Oppression make you feel like you living in a hearse. Oppression is a lesson, it put us through some testing. It taught us that we have to be strong to be progressive. Fight like our ancestors, boycott the investors, the ones who really hate us and they make us feel lesser. This a little message dedicated to oppression, focused on the color but not only subjected. Listen, we get degraded like Rosa didn't fight for her seat. We get mistreated like Martin didn't march on the street, but now we marching to the drums of a different beat. Same message, same purpose, just some different feet. And the little vibe that you may like, cause I be spitting heat. For my colored people, this is for my colored people. And in this very moment, I'm about to prophesy over every person's life in this place. As African American people, no matter what society says, God will see you through, and He'll have His angels take charge over your life. So as I say this next line, I say this is for my colored people. No disrespect to the other people. I'm prophesying to my colored people that we gon' rise above, that we gon' rise above. I'm saying this is for my colored people. No disrespect to the other people. I'm prophesying to my colored people that we gon' rise above, that we gon' rise above. You see the pigment of your skin, you notice it is lethal. And we came a long way, but we far from seeing equal. See the war in our communities, it's such a tragedy. And we see ample cases of police brutality, having T-Skittles and hoodies, causing fatal casualties. And it's sad to talk about it, but that's the truth we see. So I'm saying it one more time for my colored people. I'ma speak it one more time for my colored people. Listen, this is for my colored people. No disrespect to the other people, but all we wanna see is equal, equal. So we gon' rise above, so we gon' rise above. I'm saying this is for my colored people. Y'all can say it too. No disrespect to the other people. All we wanna see is equal, equal. Listen, so we gon' rise above, so we gon' rise above. I'm yelling, this is for my colored people.
To introduce our speaker of the afternoon. Some of you might know him, some of you may not, but his name is Anthony Highland. So, in the early years of his life, Anthony Highland sought to combat life's trials and tribulations with the only outlet he knew, which was poetry. Anthony Highland, a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native, holds a Bachelor's of Arts degree in Mass Communications from the illustrious Voorhees College. While at Voorhees College, Anthony hit the ground running by becoming the freshman class president and then third vice president of the local NAACP chapter in his sophomore year. Anthony sought to establish a continued legacy of greatness by serving as president of the Eta Iota chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated his junior and senior year. This opportunity of service gave him access to a much wider variety of audiences. Thus, through his talents and experiences, he sought to motivate and educate the young minds of his beloved institution. Anthony holds the distinct privilege of having served the District of South Carolina and Southern Region of Alpha Phi Alpha as the assistant chair to the Belford versus Lawson oratorical competition. He was the Southern District and Regional First Place oratorical contest winner and first runner-up on the national level for the oratorical contest as well. He has served as Mr. Voorhees College 2013-2014, as well as Mr. HBCU 2014-2015. This young man firmly believes that service is a duty, not an obligation. In his spare time, he enjoys reading novels and writing poetry. Among Anthony's many talents, he is also the author of The Purpose of Power. Currently stationed in Norfolk, Virginia with his wife Natasha, son Caleb, and beautiful daughter Kylie, Holland upholds the duties and responsibilities of a United States naval sailor as he serves his peers in the capacity of a boatswain's mate 3rd class. His life goal is to become a world-renowned empowerment speaker through encouragement and uplifting his fellow peers. Anthony truly believes that pacification is never an adequate substitute for honesty. So without further ado, please give a round of applause for Anthony.
How y'all doing? Ooh, that is loud. All right, so that's what we're gonna do, right? So because, so the young lady shared a poem earlier, and poetry is my love, my passion, so I felt it on my heart to share this poem with you guys. 400 years ago, we were slaves, bound by our arms, necks, and our legs. But we've broken those chains. We've snatched them from our necks, broken them from our arms, and kicked them from our legs. We're still held captive. Captive to the intellect in which we refuse to allow penetration into our minds. It's called ignorance, a disease in which many are plagued with to this very day. I read this letter by a man who goes by the name of Willie Lynch, and he proclaimed that he found a way to enslave our minds for the next 300 years, and thus far, 80% of his letters come true. He said to put the old black males versus the young black males, and we see it today through comments like, don't tell me what to do, you're not my father. He said to put the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves, and we see it today through comments like, he looks white, she talks white, they can't be black. But I would like to know, where has all this division come from? See, back in the day, there were 2 types of Negroes. There were your house Negroes and your field Negroes. See, the house Negroes lived with the master, ate with the master, and dressed pretty well. While those field Negroes slaved mercifully in the cotton fields, picking cotton, that their children might have a place to rest their heads at night. So someone tell me, where have all of our field Negroes gone? Moving gracefully across plantations like quarterbacks on football fields, yelling things like, Hut 1, Hut 2, go long. Well, my grandmother lived in Hut 1 and my grandfather lived in Hut 2, and they went long. Bloodied feet from walking across plantations that I might receive a tangible education. Have you ever seen death, the beating of 2 horses in opposite directions, only to tear a man's flesh from his bones and instill the fear of God in those slaves? Harriet Tubman states that her only regret is that she freed hundreds of slaves. She could have freed thousands, if only they knew they were slaves. Understand that until we free our minds, we will always be held captive. Thank you. So, I'm going to do something that I have never done before. So, me walking around, I don't always get like comfortable with keynotes. So, I'm going to step outside my comfort zone today. Is that all right? Yeah. Awesome sauce. So, I am a man of energy, right? Not very religious, but I'm very spiritual, right? God is my homeboy, right? If God is your homeboy, let me see your hand. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I'm in the right place? Yeah. All right, I'm in the right place. So in the Baptist church, right, when the pastor says something, you say something back, right? So I'm gonna need y'all to talk. Hello, hello. And if you can't say amen, I want you to say ouch, because I'm gonna step on a couple toes this evening. Y'all all right with that? Okay. All right, cool. So if you can't say amen, say what? Ouch. There we go. So I'm gonna step on your toes, and it might be you, so watch out. So before I do anything, right, I always say this mantra. Repeat after me. Greatness. Oh, no, sir. No, sir. We all about energy, right? I need y'all to say it like you mean it. Say it like you got something invested in it. Greatness is not an option. Greatness is an expectation. Absolutely. Awesome sauce. So in that, right, that is the mantra that I say to myself every single day. Every single day. I was talking to my brothers earlier, and this literally is my life goal, to be great. Every single thing I put my hands on, every single thing I get involved in, everything I connect myself to. I told my wife, I always tell this story, and she said, oh my God, I don't want that. The night before we got married, and she'll tell you, she's sitting right over there with my son and my daughter. I told her, I'm going to be a multimillionaire. And I want you to understand who you're marrying. Did I say that, honey? I said, I'm going to have a mansion, and I'm going to have a basketball court in my backyard. Am I lying? She said, I don't want to live like that. I want to live modestly. I said, well, you shouldn't marry me then. Because when you're great, right, your goals are so high-reaching. Eric Thomas says, if your why don't make you cry, it's not big enough. So now when you start thinking about yourself and the things that you want to accomplish, if you don't get tears in your eyes, your dreams are not big enough. If you don't get so like when I was talking to my brothers over here, you guys see me over there talking to them, I was getting excited deep down inside. Why? Because I'm talking about what I want to accomplish in life, right? And more importantly, how I want to help others accomplish their goals and their dreams. Because there are people, right? My grandma told me this when I was in 7th grade. Nothing you do is for you. Everything you do is for somebody else. So when you neglect your talents, when you neglect your goals, when you neglect your responsibilities, somebody out there is suffering. So I want you to think about that. The next time you say you want to accomplish something and you don't, I want you to think about that, right? So I'm not a pastor, right? But we're going to do a little bit of reading the scripture today. Is that all right? All right, now I got to go to my phone first, but actually, you know what? I'm live. Forget it. I'll just go off the top of the dome. Is that all right? Cool. And when you're in your word, you know the word, right? Absolutely. Okay, so how many of you familiar with the story of the multitude? God fed the multitude 5,000 with 2 fish and 5 loaves of what? Say it again? Bread. There we go. He fed them with 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, right? So the story starts off, Jesus sees the multitude from the distance, right? And he's walking up on them, and he comes into their vicinity, and he heals all of their sick, right? So he already does that. And you know he has 12 what? There we go. Somebody paying attention? He got 12 disciples, right? So they say to him, Jesus, we don't have enough food, right? My daughter agrees. We don't have enough food. So we're going to send them into town to get some victual. In the Latin, victual is translated to food, right? So I'm going to pause right there to ask you guys, how many of you are hungry? How many of you guys are so hungry that you don't know where your next meal is coming from? And when I say next meal, I'm talking about what you want to accomplish, right? And let's take one step further. What are you feeding yourself? Are you feeding yourself positivity? Or are you feeding yourself negativity? I want you to think of your 5 closest friends, right? Actually, let's bump that down. Think of your 3 closest friends. Because most of y'all ain't got 5. Let's think of your 3 closest friends, right? And I want you to ask yourself right now in your mind, and I'm going to know by the look on your face, are they blessing you or are they stressing you? Oh, I seen a couple faces look down like, oh man. If you can't say amen, say, here we go. So I had to ask myself that. Are my friends blessing me or are they stressing me? Now my wife, she's special. She do both, and it's okay. And I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? But I want you to think about that. So when you're doing specific things, I would always hear the adage, everyone that's in your ring is not in your corner. There you go. Somebody paying attention. So one of my mentees, he said to me, be careful who gets in your boat because some people are poking holes while you're not looking. And I'm like, oh, that's lit. So then one of my other mentees, right, because it's about kingdom building, right, he said, I got one for you better. If you ain't gonna row, you got to go. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. So now I think of my life the same way. So when people come in contact with me, right, and they tell me, oh, I want to assist you in this, I want to assist you in that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to help you with this, I'm going to help you with that. But then I think about it. They're the only ones benefiting. Now I'm going to have to cut that off. I don't make New Year's resolutions. I make New Year's realizations, right? So January 1st, every single year, I pray this prayer. I say, Lord, anyone that's in my life that doesn't need to be there, take them out. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying kill them. Don't say Mr. Highland said to kill anybody. But take them out of my life, right? And the strongest piece to that, right, is preparing yourself for what you ask God for, right? So I want you to think of something that you ask God for, right? And you might be going through something right now as you sit right here. Some of you are going through things in your life right now, right? And I want you to ask yourself, did I ask God for this? Exactly what you're going through. I see a couple faces, you're like, dang, yeah, absolutely. Because in order to get what you want, right, you got to go through something. In order to have a testimony, you got to have a what? A test. There you go. So I'm gonna get back to the story. So he says, bring the food to me. 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, and he blessed it, and he broke it, and he fed the 5,000. Right? Wow, miracle. Right? 2 miracles in one day. His disciples are still like, I don't really know if you that dude for real. Now mind you, these are the 12 people that walk with him. And see, back in the day, they ain't had cars. They ain't had no planes. They were walking city to city. So you're walking with me through all these cities and you see me accomplishing these miraculous things and you still doubting me. Wow. How many of you guys have accomplished specific things in your life and you got those friends that, oh, I want to accomplish that. You lied. Right? Those are the people that you gotta get them out your space. Right? Because they're keeping you from going to the next level. My mentor said, if you're the smartest person in your group, you need to switch groups. And some of you guys, that's a harsh realization that you're going to have to make because it's not It's not personal. It's business. Because in order for you to go to the next level, right, those around you, they got to be wanting to go to the next level. My best friend, Ben Bakayoko, he told me a couple days ago, he said, bro, I'm finally free and you in trouble. I said, I'm in trouble? He said, yeah, because I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. I said, bro, we both 26. That's 4 years. Like your birthday before mine. So you about to be 27. That's 3 years. You can be a millionaire by the time you're 30? He goes, yeah, now get running. Oh, okay. When I met Eric Thomas, the adage of getting running is an African proverb that he told. And he says, when a lion gets up, he knows that he has to run faster than the slowest gazelle. When that gazelle gets up, they know that they have to run faster than the fastest gazelle. But at every point in your life, as soon as your feet hit that floor, you need to start running, right? So I'm like, oh, I like that. I said, I'm gonna be a millionaire by the time I'm 27. I was like, all right, that's a little bit much, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. Because when you set goals, right, you set realistic goals, right? It's one thing to say you're gonna do something, but then you actually go ahead and do it, right? So I was talking with my brothers earlier and I got really interested in the entrepreneurial mindset, right? And I own 3 businesses and I would get to specific places within my life and I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing this no more, man. I don't, this ain't really for me, right? And then I remember my why, right? I remember why I'm doing this. I don't ever want to be financially dependent on anybody. I want to be able to like, babe, you want some eggs in Paris? All right, yeah, gas up the jet. Yeah. Go call our pilot. Tell him to get ready. That's the type of energy that I'm on, right? But when you have big dreams, it sounds crazy to small-minded people. And that's okay. And that's fine because everybody doesn't want to live the way that you want to live. Now, for some people, that's like far-reaching, like, I ain't got time for that, I don't want that. That's cool. But you have to surround yourself with individuals that are ready to go to that next level that you want to go to in order to keep challenging your mind, keep challenging you. I was very, very, very arrogant when I got out of high school because I was like #1 in everything. I'm talking about like almost any organization you had at the school. I was president of it. Student government, the chess club. Yeah, I said it, the chess club. The debate team. Citywide student government. Every other week rather, I'm sitting down with the superintendent of the school district. And I'm like, yo, I'm that dude for real. But then I got to college and got humble. Because now where you at? Back at the bottom of the totem pole. And you got to start all the way over. I was telling my brothers earlier, I got a full 4-year scholarship to Voorhees College. Thank God, no student loans. It's a blessing. Only God, not me, only God. Right? And he asked me, the school was in South Carolina, I'm from Philadelphia. I had never been past Maryland. And he asked me if I wanted to go visit the school. And I said no. He said, well, why not? I said, because if I go down to South Carolina and I don't like it, I'm not coming back. So the very first time I stepped foot on that campus with no car in rural South Carolina, Denmark, South Carolina. I don't even know how many of you guys know where Denmark, South Carolina is. I got one person. That's what I'm talking about. Rural South Carolina, gnats, deer. I'm talking about casual deer. I'm talking about, I'm walking to class and he like, hey bro, that's a deer? Like a real one? All right, bro, I catch you. And I'm going to class because I had never had that experience before. But I said, you know what? If I go and I put myself in that uncomfortable position, right? If I go and put myself into that atmosphere, right? I have no choice but to either rise or there you go. That's it. But then I remember that greatness, right? It's not an option. It's an expectation. So everything I do thereafter, we got to continue, right? All right. So he feeds the 5,000, right? So then he says, I want you guys to go out on a boat, on the water, right? And I want you guys to wait for me, right? And some of you guys right now are in that waiting phase. You see everyone else around you getting the things that they want. You see everyone around you prospering, getting the blessings and all those types of things, and you're in your waiting phase, right? So I want to tell someone that's listening to me right now, I want you to tell you, be patient. Be patient, because your time is coming. Right? So Jesus goes up to the mountain to pray, right? Because after performing all of these, miracles, I'm pretty sure he's tired, right? He said, sleep me at door for a night, but what? Joy cometh in the morning. So he said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead up to the mountain, I'm gonna pray. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna meet you guys out there on the water, right? Here's the problem with that. They took the only boat. So now that faith piece comes in, right? Martin Luther King says, faith is taking the first step, although you don't see the whole what? Staircase. Taking that first step, stepping out on faith, right? When I'm an E4 right now. For those of you that are not familiar with the military ranking system, you got E4 all the way up to E9, E10, whatever the case may be, right? So my next set of orders is an E5 and E6 billet, right? Talk about stepping out on faith, and I wanted it. And I said, you know what? The worst thing they can do is tell me what? No. So I looked at the instruction, because everything in the military is governed by instruction, right? So I said, you know what? I'm looking at it. Okay, what does it say about E4s? I'm going recruiting, right? Back in my hometown, Philadelphia. And I said, what does it say about E4s? It says only exceptional E4s will be granted access to go recruiting. That's it. That was the only statement in there about E4s. So when I emailed them, I said, I'm not sure what your qualifications or standard is for being exceptional. However, this is what I have accomplished, right? 2 days later, I got an acceptance email. Because again, greatness is not an option, it's a what? It's an expectation. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna step out on faith, right? I literally am going into this blind. I have no idea what's going on. He sent them out there on the water, right? Not knowing where they finna be at, right? Go ahead across. Yeah, I'll meet you guys there. I'm looking like, me and my 11 homeboys like, geez, you going up in the mountain, bro. How you gonna get out here? He said, just go. Just go, I'll meet you guys out there. I said, okay. So they go out on the water, and waves just start crashing. Wave crashing, the wind is crazy, right? And they see this figure in the distance, right? Now I want you guys to miss this. They see this figure in the distance, and they're looking, right? It's almost like black people when you hear a strange noise. Like, hey yo, bro, you heard that? Hey yo, bro, you gonna go check that out? No? Yeah, me neither. And then Peter, right? Peter is, oh man, Peter's an interesting individual, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But Peter's that one that speak up, right? That's that friend that you gotta be like, when you're going out to a party or to a gathering, you're like, yo, watch your mouth, bro. Hey sis, we ain't doing that tonight. That's that friend, right? The one that will speak their mind. And she pointed at her friend over there. That friend that you know, regardless of what anyone else is doing, they gonna speak their mind. If something going crazy, they like, we ain't doing that. Ooh, girl, who they looking at? Your homeboy like, hey, bro, yeah, I'm about to go drop homie. You're like, bro, we a long way from home, bro. But I'm gonna ride for you, though. You know what I'm saying? But chill, bro. You know what I'm saying? So Peter says, Lord, if that's you, right? I want you guys to miss this. Lord, if that's you, allow me to walk on the water, right? And some of you guys are even afraid to even speak up. Right? We're talking about breaking the silence, right? I didn't even tell you the topic of my speech. The topic of my speech is speak now because there won't always be peace. Right? So he says, Lord, if that's you, he challenged Jesus. Lord, if that's you, allow me to walk on the water. Jesus said, okay, all right, you know, I am who I am, right? Whenever, let's pause the throwback. Christ has this confidence about himself. That's why I say greatness is not an option, it's an expectation, right? He just has this confidence about himself that I love. And you don't even have to be Christian or religious to even feel this in your soul, right? The disciples, when they go into town, they say, who do you want us to tell them that you are, right? And he says, you tell them, watch this, don't miss this, I am that I am. He didn't say, tell them I'm Christ the deliverer. He didn't say, tell them I'm Jesus the healer. He didn't say none of that. And when you operate on such a level, people ask me all the time, who do you think you are? I don't think I'm anybody. I know. He said, I am that I am, right? That's it. That's all they need to know. Because when I show up, right, my presence is going to bring out the thousands. Your mere essence, the energy that you put out into the atmosphere, right? My mentor told me, practice what you post, right? In my mind, I've perfected social media. I know how to put a post up that within 30 seconds is gonna have 500 comments. 30 seconds, that's a pretty bold statement. But I've been studying it for the past 6 years, right? And I've come to find that the more emotionally charged someone feels about something they see, the more likely they are to engage in it. It's crazy, crazy concept, right? So he says, if it's you, Lord, let me walk on the water. He says, okay, come on out on the water. So when you put that energy out into the atmosphere, right, and you test that individual, you say, I want to do this, I want to do that, right? He'll give you that opportunity. Okay, cool. You said you wanted to be great, right? Now I'm going to throw you into a great situation and see what you do with it, right? So Peter starts walking on the water, right? He's walking. He's like, oh, snap. Lord, it's you, right? Oh, someone, don't miss this, right? The waves just started crashing beside him. The wind's going crazy. And what did he do? He took his eyes off Jesus. Now, how often do we look to God like, why are you doing this to me? When you ask for something and he starts putting you through that test, why are you doing this to me, right? And you take your mind off of him. You take your love off of him. All of that stuff that you, Lord, if you give me this opportunity, I'm going to do this, and this. All these great things. And then he thrusts you into the situation. Now you're like, why are you doing this to me? Because this is what you asked for, right? Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it, right? So he took his eyes off Jesus and what did he start to do? He started to sink. Because he took his eyes off the prize. So I want to tell someone that's under the sound of my voice right now, keep your eyes on the prize. When I think about where I'm going to be, I'm talking about, I feel like a boxer. Like I'm ready to just, where the next goal at? I might kick it. Because I'm just, that's how serious I am about what I want to accomplish. That's how serious I am about the goals that I have and the dreams that I have. And you need to be the same way. Stop allowing that fear and that doubt to overcome you. And what did Jesus do? He just gangster. He got that Christ confidence, right? He reached his hand out, right? And he said, wherefore did that doubt come from? I told you I am that I am. You didn't need to take your eyes off me. He lifted him and he walked into the boat, right? And he spoke to the wind and to the sea and told them, peace be what? Still. Peace be still. And they're looking around like, the waves and the atmosphere listen to this man? Mind you, these are the same 12 guys that walk with him city to city. In my mind, I'd be like, y'all walk thousands of miles with this man and you still don't believe him? Right? I seen this post earlier this morning and it says, don't allow the length of your friendship to determine the strength of your friendship. Yeah, that spoke to me. Because some of the people that are keeping you back, right, you're just thinking, oh, we've been friends for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. We grew up together, right? We must be great friends. But the moment y'all get into something, they're gone. And they telling all your business. My best friend to this day, who knows almost everything about me, my wife, who told me almost 10 years ago, you're going to marry me. I went to college. She broke up with me. I was like, oh. Don't do that. But I love you. No, for real, I love you. She's like, well, I went to college before and I know how it is, so I want you to live your life, get it all out your system, because you're gonna marry me. But I love you. I said, okay, all right, we stayed friends throughout the years and joined the military and fast forward, situation happened. She was supposed to come to Virginia anyway, and I said, I said, I want you to come down here, I don't like the relationship that you're in. We would always support each other. It would never be like a going back and forth, or she with a new guy, I'm not down in that guy, I'm supporting her. Hey, this and this. I think one time she hit me, I was just in a bad space, and she asked me about getting him something for Valentine's Day, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna be your husband. But I didn't say that though. So that's the first time she ever heard that one, but sorry. But I gave her some advice. Because I was being non-biased about the situation. But I started to believe what she was believing, right? Boom. I called her that Friday. I'm talking about I was shaking on the phone. I'm talking about the phone like this. I was like, honey, I said, Natasha, I don't want you to come to Virginia as my friend. I want you to come as my wife. And she stopped, and I was like, fuck. What did I just do? Because when you step out on faith, right, sometimes you're not prepared for the reaction that comes afterwards, right? But you got to prepare yourself. I'm in that warrior mindset, right? I'm like, I'm going to get one. She's going to be my wife when she get here, right? And then she started crying. I've waited 5 years for you to tell me that. I got mad. I'm like, you broke up with me. How did that work? But it's all good though, we're gonna move forward, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna do our thing, right? So be careful what you ask for, and be careful what you speak out into the atmosphere, right? Because it's gonna come back to you. it's gonna tenfold, it's gonna come back to you, right? And the more people you assist in that journey, right? The more people that get what they want, you'll get what you want. I was telling my brothers earlier, to me, it's never about the money. It's about the message. Because when you have a gift, when God has truly given you something, you realize, I literally realized the other day that excuse my language guys, I am a fucking lion. I am. And it's not enough to know it, you gotta realize it, right? Some of you guys are hunters, right? You love the hunt. And the thing about lions that I love so much, right? When a lion comes across a wounded gazelle, right? Do you think he attacks it? Why? Because he loves to hunt. And he don't know what he's engaging in when he eats that wounded gazelle, right? That's people that you come in contact with. When you realize specific things about yourself, you operate differently. You communicate differently. Your actions are different. Your connections are different, right? So when I come across individuals that are all about negativity, all about just talking down, we all know that one person that when they call you, like, oh, here you go again. You always got something negative to say. You say you was gonna leave him, now you're back with him. Oh, if you can't say amen, say, uh-oh. Somebody felt that one. You said you was gonna accomplish something, right? But you're not accomplishing it, right? So I started to think about the psychology of why we do that, right? So when you say you're going to do something, right? And I was telling my brothers this earlier. It blew my mind when I looked this up. So I started to think, why is it that oftentimes in our lives, right, we announce things, right, but we don't accomplish them? We announce things, right? You go up on Facebook, you're like, oh, I feel good about myself, yeah. And you announce it, but you don't accomplish it, right? So psychology says that when you exclaim love to an individual, right, specific endorphins are essentially released in your brain, right, and it gives you the sense of fulfillment. So when you announce those things, right, you're essentially tricking your brain into believing that it's already done. You're tricking your brain into believing that it's already accomplished. So therefore, your willingness to want to accomplish it diminishes greatly. The motivational speaker, his name is Billy Alsbrooks. He said, you tell the world one time what you're gonna do, and you spend the rest of your time grinding, giving it 120%. I don't give things 100% no more, because to me, 100% is average. I'm giving 120, because I don't wanna just meet your expectations, I wanna exceed them, right? I wanna go above and beyond. Hey, bro, you extra, you damn right I'm extra, because I'm gonna get extra. I'm getting everything that God said is for me, is for me. He said, in my house, there are many mansions. Ooh, that's what I told my wife, right? He said, I will open up the doors of heaven, right, and pour you out a blessing that you don't have room enough to what? Somebody know the word? So if my Father can say that, right, who am I not to believe it? There's a poem called Our Deepest Fear. And in that poem, right, it says, your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking yourself so that others feel comfortable around you. And some of us are doing that. My whole life, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all, I was a nerd. Actually, I still am a nerd. I embrace that shit. I read the dictionary religiously because I like, in my poetry, I like using words that, hey, like, oh, that's a good word. I'm gonna go look that up. Like, I wanna react, but I don't know what the word means, so I'm gonna look it up and then, oh, that was lit, that book got bars, right? So my whole life, people would tell me, oh, you talk white. Because in their experience, they had never come across an intelligent African-American male. So I started to tell people, intelligence is not synonymous with a race. And then I started to think about the only people that most of my peers came in contact with that had some sort of extended intelligence. A lawyer and a judge. And they did not look like them. So their mentality on what intelligence is comes from doing something stupid and getting the reaction thereafter. Doing something stupid, right, and having to reap what they sow. Be careful what you sow. Be careful who you sow into. And more importantly, don't miss this, be careful who sows into your life. I let plenty of people speak to me, but I don't let too many people speak over me. Somebody felt that. I let plenty of people speak to me. That's cool, we can have conversation, but not everyone needs to speak over my life, because I don't know how God feel about you. So when people pray for me, I pray again. Because I don't know what your relationship like. He might not be picking up the phone for you. He might be leaving you on red. Like he double texts me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He open your snap and just leave it there. I don't have that type of relationship. Why? Because I'm connected. I'm connected to the source. I was listening to, I like battle rap because it's just so intricate, right? If any of you guys listen to battle rap, we can talk afterwards. I love it. Been watching it for like almost 10, 12.